have the VFWD post 3539, color guard from Bristol, South Dakota, leading our parade today. Sponsoring this VFW post for Bristol, the first in charge is Donnie Cox. Next we have the Bristol VFW Auxiliary. First in charge of that is Eunice Sherman. Then we have the Conway Legion Color Guard. Sponsoring firm is Donovan Elizabeth Post 148, Legion and Auxiliary. First in charge is Auto Commander. Carrying Ellingson is the Auxiliary.
Isn't that a beautiful way to start a parade? Let's hear it for the cars. The Aberdeen Drum and Bugle Corps. Thank you, Aberdeen.
And then we have the Conde Auxiliary.
Red, white, and blue. Okay, here we have the Lake Region Shriners Club Model T unit with Don Malin in the lead. He's the president, and they have 7 miniature Model Ts. They're driven by their president, Don Malin, Marshall Lickness, Don Quinram, Clifford Quinram. Maybe if you'd wave when I holler your name. Godfrey, here comes Marshall Lickness right here in front of me. You know that? Thank you. Godfrey Arkman. Mr. Twinram. Kenneth Balco. And Don Twinram. The Lake Region Shriners Club Model T unit. How many miles to the gallon do you get out of those Hummers? 10 miles to the gallon. Fantastic.
Next, we have the first rating post, the George Bartell family.
He's the one that has the contact with the Great White Spirit.
Next, we have the 1985 Bristol Snow Queen, Michelle Flatter.
Hi, Michelle.
And right behind Michelle, we have the Bristol High School Band under the direction of Doris Rapp.
We appreciate very much the bands and just everything that happened here at the Butler 100-year Centennial. Thank you, George.
Next we have 1910 75 horsepower Case steam engine. Sponsoring firm is Betty Implementary Zone and driven by Kevin Anderson from down Andover way.
Didn't that bring you when we used to throw bundles in there? That old machine?
Some ladies would like to have the sewing machine run just about that smooth. We have a Model T Roadster, owned by Edwin Brew of Bristol. Person in charge is Earl Ray. 1926 Ford. This is the Model T Ford that's also owned by Edwin Brew of Bristol.
Hi, Edwin.
What we call a touring car.
Is that your youngest daughter in the rumble seat? Granddaughter.
The next one is the trailer float from Northwest Bank of Webster, or Bristol. Car pulling is owned by Fidel Bone.
It's a 1930 Hotmobile from Northwest Bank of Bristol. This car is mostly original, and the Bones are the second owners. It was not bought new by C. Gus Johnson of Bristol.
The green tractor up ahead is Carl Johnson's all full of rumbling.
The regular farmall, the owner is Carl Johnson, driven by Vernon Franson.
The 1937 farmall also belongs to Carl Johnson.
The 14C with Felix Spearing at the helm. The Hart 1930 Hart car. The 4236 McCormick Deering. 2236. I had it bigger than I thought. Roger Johnson at the helm.
Then we have Earl and Marcy Morehouse in a
DeLorean.
Original.
Stainless steel body. No, that's the car, not Earl's body. It's 1959 Cadillac, the Day County Fair Board. So if you want something like this in the Day County Fair, they're the people to tell it to. My Johnson is the person in charge. Owned by Earl Morehouse. My Johnson and Margaret Hummel are the passengers.
Next we have a 1918 Rumley from Day County Equipment Company. Person driving the tractor is Willis Green. Then we have a Rumley Oil Pro, sponsoring firm is Edwin Brew. 1926, model 2035, and a case for the spreader. Person in charge is Mr. Patrick Gaikowski.
I think that's what Baldy Beatty's always said. He'd stand behind everything but the manure spreader.
Then we have a 1952 case DC tractor and a flatbed behind it with a case mower on it and a John Deere corn planter. The names of the riders on the float are Rich Fossum and Eric Gaikowski. Person in charge is Carol Gaikowski on the tractor.
1929 GP John Deere from the Day County Equipment Incorporated. John Tuffley at the controls. Following him, we have more colors from the Lilly Legion Post 156 with Albert Gaber, Bob Dale, Larry Gilbertson, and Paul Peterson.
Next on the bicycle built for two is Terry and Mary Van Hunnick from Bristol's Johnny Shop. This is Johnny's shop. It's
about 1939 Plymouth.
Okay, this is Lake Region Electric Association. Marvin and Levon Beery driving. Marvin's driving, Levon's holding his hand, I think.
No, she's slapping his hand.
Oh, okay.
How about that? Happy birthday, REA, 50th anniversary.
And this is a 1930 CC case driven by Ernest Reddick. It was formerly owned by Carl Flattle. And then we have an LA case. That's Beatty Excavating.
Hi, darling. I bet you wish you had one like that to work with.
Driven by Glenn Hayes. It's a 1929 case.
Here we have a F-14 International Harvester, the Beatty Executive. It's driven by Todd Vanderlinden. Okay, we have here a Ford from Beatty Excavating. That's our deep tiller there. It's driven by Joni Beatty. Dorf. That's a pretty little Fordson. And here comes the Honorable, I didn't get it called Laverne Beatty, the Honorable Mayor of Butler, or Honorary Mayor.
2240 case owned by Beatty and driven by Baldy. 1923.
Come, Dodge.
12-passenger van. Have I got that right?
Okay, the Belgians are carrying the descendants of Harrison Butler. Their team and wagon, it's an old fire wagon, and they are Belgians belonging to Tom Bohl. That's B-O-H-L, of Brentford. And those are ancestors of the town of Butler. Okay, I'm not quite done. The 9-year-old, I think that's great. You'll see their name on grain bins all over the country. They have a 9-year-old gelding that weighs about a ton. Cynthia Butler Torval and DeEtte Butler Caswell, both are granddaughters of Harrison Butler. Also Tom and Bob Butler, great-grandsons of Reg Butler. And grandson and well, that gets down there, great-granddaughter, Catherine Esser.
Okay, this is the Webster Area Community Band. It's a 12-passenger Dodge van. Person in charge is Esther Nessig. She's the bus driver.
And the Day County Democrats. Okay, driven by Dory Bullard. Okay, we'll wait for the Democrats over to get the horses through.
A little about construction in two-seater buggy. Buggy is nearly 100 years old and has been completely redone by Bob.
Okay, pony and buggy for the Triple S service at Aberdeen. Welcome to Butler. Person in charge is Leonard Olson of Bath.
And here we have a 1985 876 versatile four-wheel drive, 280 horsepower, driven by Tom Hummel. If you need your garden plowed by Stockton, you can probably get him to do that.
Yeah, maybe he could get that two-bottom plow that was pulled by that Ford. Okay, here we have a 1939 Dodge. Person in charge is Lauren Enger of Aberdeen. That doesn't look like Lauren's steering. Anyway, the 1939 Dodge is from the Butler area. Remember, Carl Flatham had a 39 Dodge. I wonder if that was it.
The next unit in the parade is from Keller Hardware in Wallace. Sponsoring firm is Keller Hardware. Person in charge is Vernon Keller. Vernon and Carol Keller from Keller Hardware wish the people of Butler a happy birthday and many more prosperous years. The names of the riders on this float are Stacy and Sarah Keller.
Okay, now we have John Sigstep and a sponsoring firm of the Senior Citizens, the Bristol Senior Citizens. That's a beautiful Model A, I suppose. I blew it. Oh, it's a here we go, 1929 Hupmobile Cabriolet.
Three-wheeler with a covered wagon. And this sponsored by the Lily Butler Luther League. The person in charge is Paul Halverson. It says, proclaim him Lord of all.
This is a 1952 Pontiac owned by Lyle Stern of Bradley. The riders on the Bradley post office float are Ida Yaxley, the postmaster. Let's hear it for the postmaster, mistress. And her grandchildren and her daughter Connie Stern and Belva Sunny. The 38 star flag on the back of the post office float is a replica of the one flown in the Dakota Territory in 1877 when the new post office was established at Bradley.
The next entry in the float is Henry Lawrenson from Butler, South Dakota. Team and wagon.
They're coming in from our right. Down from the north.
This is the Sunset Saddle Club from Warner, South Dakota. Persons in charge are Darlene Arthurs or Donna Lannis. Started about 5 years ago. Members are from Warner, Mansfield, Millette, Brentford, and Bristol, South Dakota.
1942 Ford from the Pioneer Ford at Groton. Thank you, Groton. There we got the Lickness Auto Sale pulling the Sons of Norway. Hassan Gora. See, that's the original Viking ship. I remember when my great-great-granddad came over on it. And it's not leak-proof anymore, so they put it on wheels. It's a prairie schooner.
1927 Chevrolet Capital Power restored to original condition by the Flatham family.
Okay, here we have a Johnson four-wheel trailer with a plywood and Pinner counterments pulled by the SHBA John Deere tractor. By the Butler Rendering Company Limited. And that was Butler's biggest business.
Sounds like one of the plugs are just a little bit lousy.
Okay, here we have a ramp from the Herr Farms, Lester Herr. Promotion of family farms pulled with a 1960 Studebaker, originally owned by August Nolte. And the riders on it are Michael, Tammy, Angela, and Darcy. Thank you, Herrs.
Zimmerman Farm, three-wheeler, pole rolling, and snowmobile trailer. The person in charge is Brent Zimmerman. Happy birthday, Butler.
Okay, four-wheel and a small stagecoach by the Fussum Farm. Gary Fussum, Lily, South Dakota. From the past to the present, Gary and Trudy Fussum, Lisa, Summer, and Lou.
And this is the town of Lily. Person in charge is Gary Fussum. Like many other small towns, Lily may be going backwards, but we're still afloat, he said.
Hey, here we have Jensen Catering, Marvin and Sharon Jensen. Sharon is doing dishes. Our business is based at Prairie Mountain Hall, the best food for any occasion, large. Yeah, I like that. Our business is based at Prairie Mountain Hall, the best food for any occasion, large or small.
F12IHC, driven by Clinton Ruby, brought new by his grandfather in 1937.
Okay, Oliver Cleat. Oh, that's an Oliver Cleat track driven by Harold Yoder. Hi, Harold. Hello, boy. Glad you're here.
1955 Oldsmobile. Person in charge is Michael T. Schaefer, Aberdeen, South Dakota.
Butler was really invaded from the west. Here we have a 1936 Ford 1.5-ton truck with a V8 motor yet. Mike Schaefer of Aberdeen. The person in charge is Selmer Anderson of Crestbard.
This is a pickup by the Witt Pole Hereford Farm. And it says Linda Witt's in charge, but that isn't Linda driving. Members of the Witt family have been active in the Butler area almost from the beginning. Witt Pole Herefords would like to thank area buyers for their support for the last 43 years and congratulate the Centennial Committee for a fine job.
Okay, here we have a three-wheeler and a small trailer from the Bristol Pedal Pushers Garden Club. The person in charge is Linda Witt. The Bristol Pedal Pushers Garden Club would like to promote the National Garden Club theme, Pride in the Land.
Okay, we have the Butler Lutheran Church. Person in charge is Donald C. Royce, pastor. Description of the unit is Butler Lutheran Church celebrates the centennial next year, June 14th and 15th. The congregation looks back over 99 years of ministry in this community and looks ahead to many more. Names of the riders on the float: Lorraine Anderson, Cora Baylor, Joe Anderson, Pastor Don Royce, Stacy Herr, Rebecca Herr, and Terry Herr.
Here we have a house for all your needs. The Creative Realty Incorporated, Gail Ash Davidson in charge, Slayton, Minnesota.
Northwestern Public Service bucket truck. Person in charge, Tom Gullickson. A new bucket truck soon to be used in this area by Northwest Public Service, who has been serving this area for over 40 years. 60 years, pardon me.
And then we have a 1919 Ford driven by Galen Bone. Perry Malloy and Herman Bone families are sponsoring it. The 1919 Ford truck. Solid rubber tires, never a flat. They haven't even improved on that. Owned by Burdell Bone of Webster.
Gehring Hardware from Bristol, South Dakota. Al Gehring in charge. Al Gehring is in an original German costume, driven by Roy Sheldon and Lucille Sheldon.
The other day, Al got a phone call and he said, I got a leak in my basement. And he said, go ahead, it's your basement. The Clark County Raiders Motorcycle Club. Hey, how about hitting it for Clark County? Hey, we're getting this thing figured out now. We're even caught up. Hey, there. How you doing, Everett? You got something on Everett there, Clifford.
1.5-ton Chevy truck, Everett Fisk. This truck was purchased by Elmer Fisk in 1941 at Webster. This truck was used till 1969 on the farm. Everett bought it in 1971.
That's the original paint job on the cab. Here we have the Dury Farms float, driven by Robert Dury, not by Robert Dury. Brian Dury. not Ryan Dury. Give me another name, Clifford. Sixth generation of William Dury, three last generations being represented by John, Mary, and Clint Dury. There we go. Yeah, hello, John. How's the fishing?
Then we have a Lance tractor.
Driven by Clint Dury.
Firm is Hans Meyer and Son, Bristol, South Dakota. Person on the tractor driving is Marvin Johnson. Now, it's a 1942. It's a 55 horsepower. Purchased in Canada by Earl Morehouse.
Okay, here we got a Yeller diesel. It's a Shepherd diesel tractor from Custer's of Mansfield. Sales and service. Driven and restored by Ted Custer. Hello, Ted. Hey.
This is a 1970 Oldsmobile. Sponsoring firm is Custer's of Mansfield. The person in charge is built by Todd Custer and driven by Louis Custer. This was a 2-year spare time winter's project for Ted. It consists of a 62 Chevy truck frame, a 1970 Olds engine and body, and a 1958 Chevy upper deck. The only one in the country, and I can believe that.
Here we have a 1956 Studebaker President. Got the President in Butler today. From the Waubee Rest Home, William and Mildred Gregerson. Person in charge is Reverend Gregerson.
Next, we have a Terragator from South Dakota Wheat Growers in Bristol. The person in charge is Gary Kornevik. This unit is used to spray liquid fertilizer or liquid herbicide.
Okay, here we have the Webster Westerners with the Northeast South Dakota Riding Club Association with Queen Angela Golden. With Queen Angela wave. There she is. How about for the Northeast South Dakota Riding Club?
Okay, here we have Gene Roth from Andover, South Dakota, his team and covered wagon. The riders are Tom and Mary Olson, Andy and James and Carla.
Is Don Peckham's Model T, driven by Jim Swanson.
Okay, here we have an H International sponsoring Warrington Farm. Person in charge is Leo Warrington. 1949 H International, bought new by Elmer Warrington. His first new tractor was owned, and it's now owned by son Leo. 3 generations on there: Elmer, Leo, Jason, and Neil Warrington.
Okay, here we have a 1950 Ford Custom Sedan. Isn't that pretty? From Harold Madsen, from Webster, South Dakota. Restored in 1981 by Harold Madsen of Webster. Shorty and Eileen Madsen are taking care of the front seat.
Next, we have a Field Marshal tractor. Sponsoring firm is Ron Johnson Trucking. The person in charge is Ronnie Johnson. It's a Field Marshal, 1-cylinder, 2-cycle diesel. Ronald Johnson and son Russell.
Here we have a 1932 Ford 2-door sedan. Webster Auto Clinic, Tim Simon. It's a street rod options, tilt and cruise, 3.5-inch chop top, air conditioning, electric windows. Tim, Chad, and Chris.
We have Gene Bethke in a 1921 Center Door Model T. Person in charge is Gene Bethke. I hope I pronounced that right. Raymond, South Dakota.
Butler alumni of the class of 1947, driven by, hey, there they are, Floyd Parks, Floyd Wave. There you go. Donna Schimmel. Maybe I'll let you get out there a little further and then they'll have you wave. Alma Peterson, Thelma Peterson, and Lorraine Petrick. Oh boy, I didn't come with enough names. I went with their maiden names. Floyd Parks, that's your maiden name, right? Okay, there you got Donna Schimmel Hannon, Elma Peterson Paulson, Thelma Peterson Wicks, and Lorraine Petrick Stamps. Now I've got it. I'll get it after a while. Anyway, the class of 1947, Butler, South Dakota.
Next, we have Hartman's Hand Moving, a 1928 International truck. Person in charge is Elton Hartman from Bradley, South Dakota. And they got an 1839 Civil War cannon donated by the town of Bradley have a 1947 Crosley on Merkles of Bradley.
How about that? You don't see too many of them today. Restored by Merkles. Here we have the Bradley Fire Department. Fire! Fire 1!
Okay, here we have the Loken Watertown Sales Pavilion and John Morrell. Person in charge is Jerry Loken of Watertown. The team is the pair of 2-year-old Belgian colts.
Boots and Saddle 4-H Club. Linda Witt is their leader. Diane Golden, the assistant leader. Linda and Diane. Okay, the only all-horse 4-H club in the county has 18 members. Aaron, if you'd wave when I call your names. Aaron and Matt Johnson, Shannon, Sarah, Linda Witt, Kristen Krieger, Holly Denholm, Diane Golden, and Leslie Bush.
An old-time grasshopper place and spreader. Believe it or not, I'm even old enough to remember when they pulled them suckers around. But Jerry Bartell, it's sponsored by Jerry Bartell Repair and Construction.
Okay, here we have the Dane County Farmers Union with Thurlow and Alice Henriksen doing the Post Toasties advertisement on
Commercial,
the Post Toasties commercial. Brother Bill Henriksen at the wheel. It's a 1973 International, and they don't make them like that anymore.
Next, we got a two-banger coming down here, 1928 B. John Deere, Rick Crosley.
From Lesnar Oil, the Amicals. Diesel, the old and new. Yay for Butler. Thank you, Lesners.
Farmers Union Oil Company, Bristol, South Dakota. Dennis Moss driving a 1980 Chevy, 1,600 gallon capacity.
Okay, here we have the Bristol Centennial Queen, Mrs. Leva Duran. Hi, Mrs. Duran. The car is sponsored by Don Super Value, with Pat Hehe in control. She served, Mrs. Duran has served the Butler people at the Super Values for years and still helps at the Bristol School Lunch Program.
Next we have a white Dodge Derby car. Sponsoring organization is the Langford Centennial, which will be next year. Person in charge is Art Gibson.
Okay, we have the Centennial Birthday Cake, the Langford Centennial Committee. Bill Reince brought the today's entry all the way down from north.
And the old fire truck sponsoring firm is Bristol City, Bristol, South Dakota. Person in charge, Howard Jensen Mayor. 1929 fire truck. First 6-cylinder engine unit has about 3,000 miles on it. Shoot, that isn't even broke in yet.
Well, about like this other one, the Bristol Fire Department, Ralph Taylor in charge. That's their new unit. Hey, the other truck went that way.
Next up, we have the Farmers Elevator, Humper, South Dakota. Person in charge, Jerry Carlson. It's a track mobile to be used for better and easier grain handling.
1930 Model A Ford, Doug Monzett of Hecla. Doug and Jim Monzett.
1963 Chevy Impala 4-door, Ekman Construction. It's from Aberdeen, South Dakota.
So here's a sporty 1936 Old from Tom Compton of Aberdeen, South Dakota. That's a beautiful car. That's about a 1956 Chevy. 55 Chevy.
This car owned by Denny and Jeanette Marks of Webster. Okay, sponsoring the Butler class of 1939 and 1942. Ed and Vivian and Butch Merschel, John and Betty Marks from Golden, Colorado are also the writers.
Here we have a that's a shiny one, 1947 Ford, David Heyer of Aberdeen.
Here we have a 1964 Cadillac. That's advertising the Pierpont Centennial, which will be June 26th, 27th, and 28th, 1987.
Boy, you're lucky.
Gus and Gary Holler.
There's a neat card. 1951 Henry J. from Loken's Auction, Sale, and Clerking. Mike, Jared, and Corey Matthews. Meadows, I'm sorry.
1923 Model T Ford Touring. Norman Sonny, Bradley, South Dakota. Norman restored this unit himself, finding parts at auctions and flea markets near and far, I would imagine. Norman Sonny and his daughter Dorothy.
Got a 1942 pickup Chevy driven by Louis Kruger of Groton. Hi, Louis.
Here we have a 1925 Maxwell. Sponsoring firm is the Wiltfang Brothers, Mansfield, South Dakota. This 1925 Maxwell is owned by Wiltfang Brothers of Mansfield. Some of you might remember the Maxwell from the Jack Benny show. Who was Jack Benny?
I don't know. Must have been somebody Bob Holt knew. 1951 Chevy pickup with the Centennial wagon pulled behind. The Condé Centennial Committee.
Here we have a 1932 Ford Roadster, and that's just a little ways from original. Bollock Construction, Condé, South Dakota. Person in charge is Ron Bollock.
Congratulations, Butler from God's Country and Finstead Farm. They live on the farm originally owned by Pete Finstead and Lester Finstead.
Okay, this is Earl Johnson from Grand Coulee, Washington.
That's a long way to ride a horse.
And he's followed by Franklin and Stephanie Hoovey. Stephanie is the mayor of Butler. She's the lady that was in charge of all this. And she's one real lady along about right now.
How about a hand for the Hoovies? And who's the one from?
This is Myron's Welding in L&L Lanes of Webster. It's a 1939 M18 half track. It's owned by Myron and Pat Roth and driven by David Roth. You don't see too many of those on the highway. I didn't know Lily had a fire truck.
You better believe it. Who's driving? Was it Marlon Sauer at the helm of the Lily fire truck?
Okay, and bringing up the rear here, we have the Pooper Scoopers. Mike.
Oh, say, there they are. Oh, I was worried about all that stuff.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, concludes our parade. We'd like to say thank you very much for your kind attention. We have enjoyed being here and hope maybe you enjoyed it too.
Okay.
Everybody hold your places. This old Civil War cannon is going to go off over here in just a little bit. Wait till they get the horses out of here.
Okay. There we go. There it goes. Okay, here. Oh!
Just like Fort Sumner, the shot was heard around the world.
That's a shot.
Thank you.